Other interesting business news, you have the parent company of Modelo and Corona. Well, they are doing quite well as Bud Light continues to fizzle out. Pun moderately intended, of course. Yep, one of the biggest benefactors of the Dylan Mulvaney controversy with Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch business ineptitudes, hiring Dylan Mulvaney for, again, it still blows my mind, the biggest negative ROI in history from a business perspective. They paid, again, this is Anheuser-Busch, InBev, paid Dylan Mulvaney $185,000, and they lost to date about $1.4 billion in lost sales for Bud Light, which is, again, the CEO and former CIA operative, Brendan Whitworth, still has his job at Anheuser-Busch somehow. And yeah, that'll be written about in business books for decades if it's appropriately covered. Now, one of the biggest benefactors of that situation was Modelo and Corona. And for the first time in, I believe it was 20 years, Modelo was the #1 selling beer in the United States. And that was per month. So it was the best selling beer of the month. And again, Bud Light had that for 20 years. And all it took was one bad marketing campaign with Alyssa Heiderchild and her, I was going to say brilliant ironically, but we'll just say she's mentally vacuous because that's even more straightforward to the point. Now, this is brought to us, we can get down to some of the fun statistics here by Yahoo Finance, which, a little fun nostalgia, Yahoo still does exist and at one point was bigger than Google and used by more people than Google. Believe it or not. Now, this writer says, quote, Constellation Brands beats quarterly profit estimates on strong beer business. When you say there's little Corona Light bottles, which I wonder how many people know that just because of the Fast and Furious franchise, because that's the only thing they drank pretty much throughout the whole darn movie franchise history. Now, scrolling down more and more. They note that, quote, Corona beer maker Constellation Brands beat Wall Street estimates for first quarter profit, helped by strong demand for its core beer brands, which offset the sluggish wine and spirits business. Shares of Victor, New York-based company, which maintained its annual forecast, were up nearly 3% from preliminary trading. Oh, geez Louise, that is a pretty penny. What are they looking at? $250 per share? It's actually down for Constellation Brands specifically. I mean, overall year, they are positive, but past couple weeks and months, not doing great. Granted, there's not always a direct correlation between sales and stock. There's other variables, of course. Now, going back to the specific numbers, they note Constellation's beer business, a major revenue contributor, saw a 6.4% depletion in volume growth, the rate at which other products were sold, compared with a 5.5% growth last year. Now, they said, quote, Constellation's operation margin in its beer business rose 260 basis points to 40.6%. That is a pretty penny. Now, they also noted that the company reported a comparable profit of $3.57 per share for the quarter ended May 31st, beating analyst estimates of $3.46 per share per LSEG data. They posted net sales of $2.66 billion, slightly below the estimated $2.67 billion. And again, they noted the tepid, which is I'll give them A+ for unique word. You don't hear that every day. Tepid demand for premium wine and spirits, which, yeah, I'm definitely not their core audience member when it comes to wine. I'll never forget. Every couple of years, you have someone just go to Walmart and get a box of wine. Literally, just the one that's in a little bladder that comes in a box. They go to a wine convention and then just put it in the bottle or in a glass. They don't tell people what it is, and it's just as good, if not better, than some of the other ones. So I always debate when I hear people, oh, I'm a wine guy or wine connoisseur. I'm like, can you really tell? Maybe it's just me. But yeah, again, hindsight's 2020. Maybe I should invest in that stock. Again, not financial advice. But Constellation Brands continuing to do good. And yeah, I don't see Bud Light recovering anytime soon. But let me know if you think they'll actually make a comeback. Seems like the competition, or seems like everyone just keeps going over the competition. But yeah, I'm trying to think of in the past 6 to 12 months, I think I've seen 2 people ever order a Bud Light. And everyone, I mean, it's not like everyone yelled at him, told him to get out of the bar, or where was I? Oh, more accurately, a restaurant. But I guess Topgolf for work. But nevertheless, just kind of gave him a weird look. It's almost like an unspoken thing. Like every time I host a company event, again, it's not like I tell people we don't dictate what people can order on the menu, but everyone's buying beers or putting it on the tab, and more often than not, I mean, we're also in Texas, but Shiner is a big popular one. And yeah, at our events, we've never seen Bud Light. But let me know, do you know anyone who's publicly bought or consumed Bud Light in the past year? I mean, have you yourself actually bought it? Let me know in the comments. I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.